excited and worried about new jobs. I earned additional money at a downtown LA carnival the summer before my college senior year. The spooky fun house, rides, games, and food were the carnival's highlights. Mansion-sized, operated the Carnival Funhouse, direct guests, ensure fun, and watch, leave. I noticed anything weird after everything seemed okay. Initial changes were small. 12 people entered, 11 left. Noise and laughter made counting difficult, so I thought I was wrong. After days, the numbers didn't add. 7 in, 6 out, 11 in, 9 out. Feeling crazy, I couldn't ignore it. A blonde woman entered the fun house on a busy afternoon. Despite being only a few years older than me, she was stunning and out of place in the kid-friendly environment. Another look was needed. I watched her despite being normal. We entered the attraction after her smile and ticket. I worked again after she left. I got questions from visitors. That night, I watched the visitors talk to that female. Groups followed her out. I left work to find her since I thought she was out. Entered and locked the front door. After searching the dark dungeons and little tunnels, I found a barely visible wall fissure from my first visit. Unsure of what to expect, curiosity triumphed. When pressed, Seam clicked. I almost fell over when I discovered the hidden entrance after more play. It displayed a pitch-black corridor. Shaken, I pondered what happened. Expected a lengthy conversation with my supervisor. My phone flashlight guided me through the hallway. Not anxious because what happened surprised me. The tunnel ended with another door. I was amazed by the carnival as I opened it. Knowing I wasn't crazy, I sighed. Tourists leaving the attraction probably mistakenly found the secret door and thought that was the route. I regret not chatting to her on the way back. Why I investigated the funhouse instead of posting is beyond me. Part of me wanted more of this surprise getaway. Another minor wall gap appeared after several more rooms. It clicked and opened after more playing, so I knew it was different. The foul smell attracted my attention. I worried because it had no corridor, only a ladder. My main emotion was confusion. I was told this building had no basement or level 1 entry. Since I felt bad about the girl down there, I started the descent. Scent enhanced in darkness. Unexpectedly bad basement. I used my phone's bottom flashlight. I was shocked. A dark, lengthy tube. No way from the house above. I kept walking without speaking because the mystery was too compelling to ignore. As I walked, my spotlight caught a white glittery purse in the corridor. I recognized her purse when I turned it over. I knew. Was she below? Panicked. I had proof that a sensible person couldn't find this tunnel and turn around. Was she hurt or lost? Which was scarier? Was she alone? Though risky, I was too attached to her to leave. I heard quick subterranean footfall before calling again. Running, because the person hurrying toward me seemed unpleasant. Turning, I went to the ladder. I got halfway up and slipped, falling back to the bottom. The footsteps were basically right on top of me now. I knew I was done for. I braced myself for a fight. And then a voice rang out. A girl's voice. Her voice, she gasped. Help me, clutching her side as if in pain. I yelled at her to climb up, but she insisted that I follow her back into the darkness. For some reason, I told her there was no chance I was doing that, and basically forced her up the ladder. We got to the top, and I slammed the door shut. I asked her how in the world she ended up down there, and she couldn't really give me a straight answer. She kept saying she didn't really remember how it happened. Just that, she suddenly realized she was underground. She said she started hearing things moving in the dark and that there were voices calling to her. I didn't know how to process this. I asked her if someone had guided her down there, and she said she didn't remember. The weirdest thing about her story was that she was looking at me with this blank stare that genuinely freaked me out. I basically interrogated her about why she told me to stay down there, but she didn't answer. I had had enough. I wanted to get as far away from this person as possible. I called the police, but she opted to leave the funhouse before they got there. I never saw her again. The police investigated, and what they found was actually insane. The owner claimed he had no idea about the house's history, but I was skeptical. I quit my job and got as far away from there as possible. I still have so many questions. Did the owner know about this? Was that girl almost kidnapped? Had someone knocked? My encounter must have several worrying causes. I love carnivals since childhood. Games, lights, and unknown joy. Of it all I know, lots of people find them weird and childish, but not me. Growing up in a small town in Indiana, there wasn't much to do, so whenever the carnivals would roll through town, I spent as much time there as I could for over 20 years, and I still enjoy the atmosphere of a local carnival. Despite what I'm about to tell you, I think my love for carnivals will never fade. This happened when I was 10 or 11, a nerdy kid. I was reading about whatever interested me in the library before Spring Carnival and ended myself in the history section. The books were dusty from neglect. A little, worn scrap of paper slipped out of a book about our town's history as I turned the pages. After being confused, I reached down to pick it up and was pleased to find a 15-year-old Spring Carnival ticket. Something like that happening was unlikely, but I loved adding it to my weird collection. The next night, I pocketed the carnival ticket. The carnival was lively and smelled like cotton candy and popcorn as I approached the entrance. I gave the counterman my gate ticket. The sight made him pale and widen his eyes. Then he smiled to hide his genuine sentiments. Very creepy. "Enjoy your evening," he muttered, returning the ticket without punching it. His reaction left me too startled to ask him to hit it. I shrugged, thinking he was new and puzzled about the prior ticket design. I explored, played games, and ate funnel cake. I had a great night but felt monitored. Maybe I was paranoid. Although I ignored it, the fair personnel kept staring at me curiously. Frustrated, I questioned an elderly game operator. A kind older man ran the ring throw booth. He didn't hide his amazement when I gave him the ticket, unlike the booth guy. He looked around nervously before saying, "Where did you get this?" I felt uneasy about everything. Maybe I should have kept the ticket at home. You found something you shouldn't. Old man murmured, "This ticket is part of a narrative the locals don't discuss about 15 years ago when something horrific happened during the carnival in this town." He paused as if contemplating whether to continue. One of the rides I can't remember was run by Ryan, a charming young worker. He vanished overnight. He pointed to my hands and stated the police discovered his wallet, but only a ticket like this one. Our surroundings appeared cooler. Although that gave me a chill, I was dubious and shrugged when I asked the old man, "I've seen enough to be open-minded. The ticket you found may cause problems, so discard it. Keep it." I declined his request. I looked down and reread it, fearing I missed something. I doubted a tea I could cause everything. I was growled at to give it to him. I contemplated it, but a stupid story wasn't worth losing a cool souvenir. I said no, and he stood up quickly, stunning me. He took my ticket and touched my hand. I recoiled, holding the ticket. The elderly man's visage grew predatory and desperate. He murmured, eyes flickering like he was expecting for someone to appear. I returned to the tent, exit pounding. I mumbled, "I think I should go," and retreated behind the crowd, calling me with threats and begs. I ignored his words and let the crowd surround me. The carnival ticket burnt in my pocket, so I left early. My luck changed immediately afterward. Missed the school bus, damaged my leg in a bike accident, and worst of all, my best friend accused me of stealing his favorite baseball card, which I would never do. It got worse. I remember coming home one night to find my mother crying because she had lost her job, my brother fracturing his leg skating the week after, and our beloved pet Bean dying a few days later. My mood had deteriorated since the carnival night. I remembered the old man's warning about tickets summarizing. Like my bad luck, it looked ludicrous. My dad laughed at my theory. He told me ghosts don't exist, and to quit believing. On a rainy afternoon after school, I glanced at the ticket after forgetting my lunch and becoming hungry. This small paper I was so annoyed with made me angry and scared. I was done. To the brook behind our house, I wore my raincoat and boots. My heart raced near the creek's edge. I looked at the ticket one more time before pulling it up and watching the river take it. Just paper, I thought. It seems to help. Finding his baseball card, my friend apologized and we reconnected. I never missed the bus that year, and my mom got a better job 2 days later. I became more careful about anything I picked up and carried home, whether it was a coincidence or that ticket was cursed. I still don't believe in the supernatural after my experience, My parents believe I dreamed everything as a child. Despite its inexplicability, I've accepted it as one of those strange events. Dirty kid-filled carnivals irritate me. Food, games, and smell bother me. My younger sister took me to our local carnival years ago, which may explain my dislike of them. Not going would be disrespectful, but I wasn't excited either. I contacted my mom to pick us up when my sister got bored and left. I said I'd walk home later because I was fighting with my dad and wanted to wait until he was asleep. It was sad that the carnival had less people that night than usual, and everyone seemed depressed. After collecting my ticket, I explored about for pleasure. I entered the funhouse for something interesting. Very few people showed there, despite my expectations. I never went to a funhouse alone. Silence and weird mirrors make individuals unaware of how important laughter and conversing are to the atmosphere. A bit creepy. Shrugging, I walked through. Mirror distortions made me giggle. Midway through, I noticed something weird in my left reflection. A head stared at me. I briefly saw the bald guy's eyes. I instantly searched but found nothing. He might have been anywhere with so many mirrors. He must have entered the funhouse behind me because I didn't hear the doors open, making it eerie. He reappeared in my peripheral vision as I accelerated. He smiled crazy with the same face. I probably looked around for him, but reflections blocked it. I shouted, "Get lost," but got no reaction. I accelerated again, but this maze of mirrors was impossible to manage and kept striking dead ends. I looked over my shoulder often, sweating. A few minutes later, someone grabbed my wrist from behind a mirror as I turned a corner after another dead end. He refused to let go despite my curses. I hit his arm and he released. I collapsed in the fray and saw the creepster in full grey, with a gut and a tired, sunken face. I jumped before he could reach me and ran back. Maybe it was survival instincts, but adrenaline helped me find the entryway. I caught my breath after fleeing from the funhouse. I realized something awful as I reached inside my back pocket. I didn't have my wallet. I must have dropped it when I fell. There was no way I was going back in there after running to the nearest staff person. I told them everything that happened. She seemed confused and told me that the funhouse was closed to patrons that night. I was horrified they called the police and searched it but found nothing. Not even my wallet. I felt like such an idiot. I told them that guy was probably an ex-employee with a key, but they shrugged off my theory and told me to go home so reluctantly. That's what I did. It's not like I had gotten hurt or anything. I wish I could tell you the story ended there, but I can't. A week later, my girlfriend called me one night in a panic, frantically screaming into the phone about something terrible that happened. Apparently, someone had been texting her phone pretending to be me and convinced her to drive out to this remote location to help me change a tire. Thankfully, she decided to bring her dad. Even though the guy told her to come alone, they pretty quickly realized what was going on. When the car parked in the lot wasn't mine, her dad stepped out of the car and 6 dudes stepped out of the car in front of them. He sprinted back to the car and hightailed it out of there before those guys could catch up to him. The whole thing made sense. He acquired my girlfriend's number from a slip of paper in my wallet. Nothing negative has happened since we changed our contact info a month ago. I'll ignore this because I don't know how I feel.